I came to claim what was left to me, and they laughed. Not just a quiet chuckle, but the kind of laughter that echoes in your chest long after the room falls silent. But what happened next is why you should never judge someone by what they wear, where they come from, or how quietly they walk into a room. Stay with me, because this story might change the way you see everything, and if it moves you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be heard. The rain hadn't stopped since morning. It clung to the city like a memory that refused to fade, streaking the tall glass windows of the corporate tower I stood in front of. I looked up at the building, 32 floors of polished arrogance and power, and tightened my grip on the worn envelope in my hand. Inside that envelope was everything I had left of my past. And possibly, everything that could change my future. My shoes were soaked, my shirt wrinkled, and my reflection in the glass doors didn't look like someone who belonged inside. But I had learned a long time ago that belonging isn't something people give you, it's something you claim. So I stepped in. The lobby was vast, cold, and silent in a way that made you feel small. Marble floors, golden accents, and a receptionist who didn't bother hiding her judgment as her eyes scanned me from head to toe. "Yes?" she asked, her tone sharp, rehearsed. "I'm here for the board meeting," I said, placing the envelope on the counter. Her eyebrow lifted slightly. "Do you have an appointment?" "I was told to be here at noon," I replied calmly. She glanced at the clock, then back at me, clearly unconvinced. "Name, Arman." She typed something into her computer, paused, then frowned. For a moment, I thought she'd ask me to leave. But instead, she picked up the phone. "There's someone here," she said quietly. "Claims he's expected." A pause. Another. Then her expression shifted, just slightly. Not respect, not yet, but uncertainty. 32nd floor, she said finally, sliding a visitor badge across the counter. "Conference room A." I nodded, took the badge, and walked toward the elevators. Every step felt heavier than the last, not because I doubted myself, but because I knew what was waiting for me upstairs. Memories. And people who would rather pretend I didn't exist. The elevator ride was silent, but my mind wasn't. It replayed everything that had brought me here, the nights sleeping on broken floors, the days working jobs no one else wanted, the hunger, the humiliation, and the promise my mother had whispered to me before she died. "Never forget who you are, Arman. No matter how they treat you." The doors opened, and just like that, I was back in their world. The conference room was already full. Men in tailored suits, women with sharp eyes and sharper words. At the head of the table sat the man I recognized instantly. Mr. Karim, millionaire, chairman, and the man who had once looked my mother in the eyes and told her she meant nothing. His gaze fell on me, and for a brief moment, something flickered in his expression. Recognition. Then, amusement. "Well," he said, leaning back in his chair. "This should be interesting." A few people chuckled, others whispered. I walked in anyway. "I'm here to claim my inheritance," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. That's when the laughter started. Not subtle, not polite, real laughter. One man wiped tears from his eyes. Another shook his head like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Inheritance," someone repeated. "From who?" "A fantasy, Mr. Karim smiled, slow and deliberate. "Son, do you even know where you are?" "I do," I replied. "And I know why I'm here." He gestured toward the table. "Enlighten us." I placed the envelope in front of him. "For the board," I said. He looked at it for a moment, then at me, then back at the envelope. "You expect us to believe this?" he asked, not even opening it. "I don't expect anything," I said. "I just came for what's mine." The room went quiet for a second. Then someone laughed again. "Security," a voice started. "Wait," another interrupted. It was the oldest man in the room, the one who hadn't laughed. He leaned forward slightly. "Open it, Mr. Karim hesitated. Then, almost out of curiosity, he did. The sound of the paper sliding out of the envelope seemed louder than it should have been. He scanned the first page, his smile still in place. Then it faded, slowly, line by line. His expression changed, from amusement, to confusion, to something else. Something heavier. "What is it?" someone asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he passed the document to the man beside him. One by one, the papers moved around the table. And with each person who read them, the room grew quieter. No more laughter, no more whispers, just silence. Finally, the old man spoke. "Call legal," he said. A ripple of tension spread across the room. Mr. Kareem's eyes returned to me, but this time, there was no amusement in them. Where did you get this? He asked. My mother, I said simply. He clenched his jaw. That's impossible, is it? Minutes passed like hours. Lawyers were called. Documents were verified. Signatures examined. Dates cross-checked. And then, the truth settled in. Heavy, unavoidable, real. The old man stood. It's legitimate, he said. All of it. No one spoke. No one moved. According to this, he continued, he is the rightful heir to 30% of this company. A gasp. A chair scraped against the floor. And Mr. Kareem sat completely still. 30%. Not a token. Not a favor. Power. Control. A voice at the table whispered, that makes him. Yes, the old man said. The largest individual shareholder in this room. Every eye turned to me. But I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel victorious. I felt something else. Something deeper. Because this wasn't just about money. It was about every door that had been closed in my face. Every time my mother had been told she didn't matter. Every moment I had been made to feel invisible. I didn't come here to fight, I said quietly. No one interrupted. I didn't come for revenge either. Mr. Kareem's gaze didn't leave mine. I came because this was hers, I continued. And now, it's mine. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full of realization. Of consequences. Of truth. Mr. Kareem finally spoke, his voice lower than before. What do you want? I looked around the room, the polished table, the expensive suits, the people who had laughed just minutes ago. Then I thought of my mother. And I answered, respect, not for me, but for the truth, for the past, for the people they had chosen to forget. Because sometimes, the greatest inheritance isn't money. It's the chance to stand in a room where you were never meant to belong, and prove that you do. And if this story meant something to you, if it reminded you that your worth isn't defined by what others see, then don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe, because the next story might be yours.